Good morning, West Ham fans. It is actually Saturday, but it's 1:32 in the morning. I did a late night show with Stelios over on the West Ham Voice, and I'm knackered. That went on. That was a great show, actually. Really good. If you get a chance, it was quite cleansing. I think I brain dumped everything that I had inside my head that was frustrating me, and I think Stel did a good job of that as well. I think we discussed so many things, and that went on for I think hour and a half or something. And yeah, it was gone midnight when we came off, and then immediately we came off there, started reading exciting announcements that stuff has actually started to happen. I mean, it looks like it's for real this time. So let's have a look into that. I am actually excited now. So if you watch this channel, please can you subscribe? Really helps us a lot. Please can you subscribe to the channel, the Bobby Moore stand, hit the bell notification icon, and hit like. It'd be a miracle if I make it through this without falling asleep, but I'm going to because it's important, right? This is the first genuine excitement that I've had during the transfer window, and I'm going to be up till about bloody 2 o'clock putting this video together in order to let you know. So this will be all over the news in the morning. You would have seen it already, but Brian Brobbey, he was he was spotted in Beckton Alps last night, looking in the estate agent's window. No, he was in a Premier Inn in London. He's talking to the club. It's 90% done. There's some financial stuff to sort out, but the thing that really got me excited when I was looking for pictures of this player, I mean, it's the thumbnail. The picture's on the thumbnail. Him and Kudus with a cup. Now, apparently, Kyle McAuley, he's come in. Tim's gone out. He's left today with his brother, I think. And again, all my thoughts on Tim last night. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to cover that ground again. And Sullivan and all that is dead. It's done, right? I am a very just well, I won't say I forgive, but what I'll say is, with football, it's all about how well the team does. I back Potter to the hilt. I wanted the club to back Potter to the hilt, and I wanted them to back McAuley to the hilt as well because he's got an amazing track record for identifying talent that becomes very expensive talent. All right, so he's come in and almost immediately he's identified this striker, former teammate of Kudus. Might explain why he's had a bit of a lapse in form because his mate got sold. One of the theories anyway. So I like it, and he's got all of the attributes. I think this is, unless I'm mistaken, and again, it's something Stel called out last night, and I do actually believe it. I do actually believe it. This guy is a replacement, a successor for Mikel Antonio, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. I mean, you've only got to look at him. You've only got to look at these stats and realise what we're dealing with here. Pace, 82. It's out of 100, obviously, it's percentage. Sprint speed, 88. He's 22 years old. He's never had a structural injury. By that I mean something like a knee or a hip or a ankle or anything like that. He's had these kind of strains that have kept him out for quite repeated ones. But if you remember back to when Antonio joined, it's the hamstring problems. He missed a lot of each season with a significant hamstring problem, didn't he? And he got around that by it was expert after expert, and I think it came down to like diet and various other bits in the end. But look at the other elements that he's got here. His positioning is excellent, 84, finishing 81, shot power 79. Long shots not so good. Again, similar to Antonio, he don't do long shots, does he? Volleys again, Antonio don't do those, or penalties. Long passing, yeah, it's not Antonio strength either. Short passing, yeah, pretty good at that. Pretty good at that. Strength 92. Dear God, 92. I mean, that is a beast who can go into beast mode, I'm telling you. Aggression 70, needs to get more aggressive, wind him up a little bit. But then again, Then again, even though Antonio's aggressive, he's a very laid back character. Be laid back on the pitch. Again, these are sort of generic stats. I don't know what the actual definition is. Yeah, stamina, needs to build up his stamina a little bit, and jumping. This boy can jump. 92. 92. So when you look at all of these different, his ball control is right up there. His reactions are right up there. His balance is right up there. Composure is right up there. Now, even dribbling ain't so bad. I mean, you got to say 70 is a decent score, right? It's a decent score. That's quite high. So when you're going above that and towards the 80s and 90s, you're talking about somebody who's pretty damn good in that area. Heading accuracy 71. I mean, that's pretty good. This is on the face of it looking like a very, very promising player, like a young Antonio, but with a few attributes are a little bit better, because we know that Antonio is not the most technically gifted player, right? We know that. We've always known that, but we accepted him for what he was. I'm sure he'll come back at some point, but, he'll probably be leading the line next year again. But we know that he had certain deficiencies with his game. And what it looks like is this is a younger technical version of Antonio. I know he hasn't had a good season, but that could be for a number of reasons. That could be that he's just not happy at the club. It could be that the club have sold a lot of their expensive players, which they keep doing. It could be that his supply line dried up the week before. But the fact that he has been successful in a team with Kudus, and clearly Graham Potter's trying to find a good way to utilise Kudus. Surely they would have spoken to Kudus about this, right? So I am 100% in favour of this now. When I read it earlier, wasn't excited. When I read people's comments on Twitter about, he had one good season and he's crap, wasn't excited. Looked into it. I am excited. I'm all over this. And so that is the first bit of good news. Now, like buses, it all comes along at once. Now, Adam Webster, the new Craig Dawson, 30 years old, centre half of Brighton, 6'3". Again, let's do some of these crazy stats, right? This is all I could be bothered finding, to be honest. So, it's very late. Again, he's got all of the attributes you would want in a defender. Now, I haven't checked his injury record. I don't know what it's like. I would assume he's kind of surplus to requirements in a similar way that Craig Dawson was, right? But if you look at the important stuff, heading accuracy is right up there, almost 80. Interceptions, very, very good. Defensive awareness, excellent. Standing tackle, excellent. Sliding tackle, very good. He can even jump. 30-year-old that can jump. So could Craig Dawson. I wonder if he can leap like a salmon and get on the end of set pieces like the hero that he was. Strength, 79, very good. Aggression, very good as well. Composure. I wonder what this says about Mavropanos. Or he says about 32, I reckon. Ball control, very good. You're going to see that as a common thread in with Potter players. Reactions, very, very good. So I think that is potentially, when you look at it, I know they've got a wealth of choices down at Brighton. They really have, because of the way they've recruited. But I really urge you to, this is something now. I've gone full circle. I've gone 180 I know a circle's 360. You've gone 180. You're doing a bout turn. It's half a circle, right? So I am tired yet excited by this, because it feels to me like they turned off the taps, hadn't pushed anything through. They wanted this guy to come in and get his feet under the table, excuse me, and give his opinion and his backing for these things. It's the only explanation I can make. If you read into these articles and these links, it's clear that he's involved. Kyle McAuley is involved, instrumental, I think, in both moves, which will be fine if it comes off, right? Right, Tim? Anyway, last time I mentioned him. Another thing that I discussed on the Stell show last night was around Angel Gomez, because we know that was rumoured to be a deal that was getting done, right? We also know that it is a deal that could get done, because he would come to West Ham. It's just that he would demand a 4-year deal plus one option. It's not enormous money, and besides, there's hardly any transfer fee because he's only got 6 months to run on his contract. So we all know that'd be good business, right? It'd be very good business. Now, again, I said the other night, a striker and a good midfielder with legs and a defender, a centre half. Chris calls it a spine for some reason, right? Maybe it's a spine. No, you got to have a keeper to be a spine, and you got to need a keeper as well. Right. Well, the again, the legs in midfield when you're talking about someone big, physical, fast, and everything else is another. Now this hasn't come back, but we know that this hasn't gone away either, and that's Chukwuemeka at Chelsea, which is where McAuley's just coming from. Could just come from where Thingy came from, Potter, and also I think he came from Brighton as well, or they had him at Brighton at some point. Well, he's just the sort of player we need. Chelsea value him at 40 million, but they would, wouldn't they? They're Chelsea. I think he's all you got to do is pull on a Chelsea shirt, and you add 20 million to your value. West Ham value him at 30. I think that I reckon I've had a feeling about that one from the start of the window because it just looks like really good value, and I don't think there are any other top. I don't think he's got any other options better than West Ham. Put it like that. When I'm talking about teams who should be in the top half of the table and pushing upwards, that's where we should be. I don't think there's an option better than us where they've got massive gaping holes in their midfield for that sort of player. So I think it's a very small market, and if he wants to stay in London, it's an even smaller market. So I would like to see him. Imagine getting Chukwuemeka, Gomez. No, let's not get carried away. Let's just say, look, I'll take either of them. But if we can, even if we can get the defender and the striker, that'd be an all right window. But we do need to sort that midfield problem out. And if we can sort that out, then this has to go down as after all the drama and all the nonsense and all the BS that's been put around, it has to go down as what I would call a decent window. If that happened, a very decent window. If we got both of those players, it'd be an excellent window. There you go, I said it. I'd even consider a late loan move for Will Salthouse's Andre Silva as a backup striker to be an added bonus, right? There you go. And you know how much I don't want him, but as a backup, that'd be fine, right? Like I said, give him the tools he can use. And if you give him too many tools, even better. There's no such thing as too many unless you go and manage Chelsea and the geezer starts buying, really expensive players on 8-year contracts. Right, okay, so to me, I've cheered up massively on this. But again, this is something I discussed in depth last night because ever since Potter arrived, I think you remember that, initially I was looking at Potter and I had the same opinion as everyone else because the last thing we'd seen Potter was Chelsea. Now, that was a bit unfair of me. So I did my own work when it was boiled down to a few candidates, and I got to be honest, I was really taken with what he did at Brighton. Absolutely, won over by it. Also, the fact that he's a modern football manager. But the thing is, right, he's a modern football manager, and so we've got to get used to watching a modern football manager and how a modern football manager operates, and we're not used to that. And there are going to be certain parts of the crowd who are going to react to him just doing normal stuff for him, right? And I'm just going to go through a couple of these things because you really need to get used to this, especially in the first building season. I'll just say one thing, and that is the overriding principle of Potter is he has a destination. He has a destination. He knows where he's going with the team. And it might take 2 seasons to get there. In Brighton's case, it took 4 seasons, but we're not starting from as low as they are, right? So it might take this season to test out all the parts, plug all the gaps, and then a summer to add another couple of bodies, right? But what he tends to do is he builds for the long term and for a squad. So, like Guilherme is now saying Guilherme ain't leaving. And that's because I don't think anybody knows how good Guilherme is. But Estelle told me last night, reminded me actually, when we got him, he was in the top 20 young players in the world. Right? He was. He was excellent on paper. He was really good. He was, a little kid getting first team appearances for Palmeiras, a very tough league in Brazil, right? And we didn't buy him for nothing. And I'd love to see, because this ain't the player's fault that he was bought in, what agent bought him in. He's gone now. And you know Potter's going to give him a good go at it. Nothing give him more pleasure than to see that kid, because he must have been through a bloody nightmare since he come over here. And it ain't just for revenge on Sullivan. I want to see that kid do well, and I want to see Todibo do well as well. And even the other one, if you go back to Naif Agued, who had a bloody nightmare with us, but he's one of the players of La Liga, for Christ's sake. We could bring him back next year as well. There's so much we could do. So much we could do. Potts could come back. You know, he's been player of the year at Wickham. He will be player of the year for Portsmouth. He's actually doing much more in a game than Declan Rice used to. You know, this geezer's getting forward with assists, box to box with assists. He's going to be one of the best players in the Championship. Now, if you've been player of the year at Wickham as a kid, you've chosen not to sit on the bench, you go out to loan on Portsmouth, who are in trouble, you get their player of the year as well. He's going to, right? You deserve your chance in West Ham's midfield, don't you? And I think Graham Potter will see it that way as well. I think he will. He will. Right, let's go back to the things that you're going to find a little bit strange, and some of you are going to react badly to them, and just don't, right? His overarching objective in a game against any opposition is to dominate possession. Not in a Lopetegui way. It is to win possession, to keep it. If we're defending, to get possession, right? And it's basically to set off, it's usually players going down the wing, right? So, but again, it's much more complex than that, and I'm still learning about it. I've got to be honest, but it just excites me, whatever I see of it, and so that's why I want to see this thing, this sort of, to watch him get to the destination fully back, because I think he will. I think he will. It's not about, you know, we're playing Man City this week, we're going to sit back and absorb and try and squeeze a counter-attacking goal. That's not in his vocabulary. What we did against Crystal Palace was a case of necessity. He knew he didn't have the attacking players to hurt them, so he tried to set us up for once to just stop Palace and match them, and we nearly did. It weren't a pretty game to watch, but every now and then, if he thinks that's necessary, let him do it. Right? I'll happily be bored for one game as long as it's not a trend. But what happened there in the second half is we gave the ball away. He didn't plan that. He didn't plan that at all, and might have been a mistake by him. I haven't heard his post-match comments on that yet, but if it was a mistake by him, he's probably admitted it, knowing him. So, he uses whatever players he's got, and I mean whatever players he's got. He brought an 18-year-old goalkeeper through from the youth team to the first team at Brighton because he thought he was good enough. Why not? Scholes, he played him in the FA Cup away to Villa. That don't mean he's going to start him in the Premier League yet. I think he's ready. He might not think he's ready. He knows more than me. All right, Cresswell, I stand by it. He actually did all right at left centre half. He did. He can play that role. But again, it's about using every resource available to you, including every member of the squad. He will try them out. Some of them will work, some of them won't. But it's all about, you might actually see a right winger playing left back. You might see a centre half turn into a striker. This is what he does. He thinks a player's got a certain strength. He'll think, right, there are his strengths, there are his weaknesses. We've got to conceal the weaknesses and put him in a place where it accentuates his strengths, right? And so that might end up seeing some very weird position of players that strangely works. And I wouldn't bet against him finding a position, for instance, for Mavropanos, but I guarantee it won't be a centre half, right? So I've got a feeling he's going to be a right back or a right wing back, depending what system we're playing. I really do. So, look, we've been through a lot of a heartache this couple of weeks. We really have. But I think maybe there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel now. Thank God. And boy, do we need it. You know, I was so excited. Honestly, I went in the house. I looked up pictures of this Brian Brobbey, and I thought, when I saw that one with Kudus, I actually rushed that back down the shed again to make a video because I thought, it's real. And then I read the news stories, and 90% done. So I'm really, really excited by this, and I'm really excited about getting Craig Dawson Mark II, Webster from Brighton, and let's just get a midfielder, maybe two midfielders, and turn this into the perfect window and I think we could be pushing up that league towards the end of the season. Don't you think? I'm not going to bother talking much about Villa tomorrow because I'm too bloody tired. But I will say a couple of things. Jared Bowen has done a couple of training sessions already. There is a chance he'll get some game time. There is also a chance that Somerville will get some game time as well. So those two developments can only be positive. I think what we're going to see in a couple of weeks is, like London buses, new players bedded into the team, players coming back from injury, hopefully a wealth of choices and no more new injuries. And it might be a lot of fun going to watch West Ham again. At least I really hope so. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this upbeat transfer show for once. First one in ages. If you've enjoyed these shows, or if you enjoy these shows, please can you subscribe to the channel? I can barely talk. Please subscribe, just because I've stayed up so late. The Bobby Moore Stand on YouTube. Hit the bell notification icon and give the video a like. That would be very nice of you. Yeah, I've got nothing else to say. I've got nothing else to say on that. I'm not even going to play a Kenny Townsend video tonight because I'm, deep down, I'm actually quite. I don't want to have a go at the ball tonight, because if they are getting this done, then I want to lay off them and focus on the team again. Obviously not for concessions and stuff like that. It's a different topic, right? But you get my drift. I want some bloody peace and quiet. And I want him to be given his players, and I want to see West Ham back. That's what I want to see, like we all want to see it. So, we shall be back tomorrow night for a live show, probably about 7 o'clock, because I think it's a 4 o'clock kickoff. So, me and Chris at least tomorrow night. And come on, you irons. I think let's go and. That'd actually give me a lot of pleasure if we could get a draw or something at Villa. I'm not counting on it. But I'm not ruling it out either. So I'm going to go. Let me know your prediction in the comments. I'm going to go Aston Villa 2, West Ham 2. We're going to get a sneaky draw. Can feel it in my water. Anyway, that is me done. I'm going to bed. Come on, you irons.